Hi, and welcome to our Workspot session entitled Low Latency Cloud PCs, the Modern Way to Work. I'm Brad Peterson, VP of Marketing at Workspot, and with me is our Workspot CEO, Amitabh Sinha. Amitabh.
Hey, Brad. Hey, everybody. Very nice to have you for this session.
All right, well, you know what? We're going to jump right in. We got 25 minutes ahead of us, and with that, we're going to share this phenomenal story of delivering low latency PCs all around the world. And we're going to combine that with a couple of really cool demos, okay? An end user demo, and then a full functioning admin demo to show you how this is all done. Now, let's kick the presentation off by digging deep into the title, Low Latency Cloud PC. So Amitabh, what exactly is a cloud PC?
That's a great question, Brad. A cloud PC is very similar to your physical PC. It runs Windows 10, it runs your applications. The big difference is a cloud PC runs in the cloud, in the Google Cloud. You get the same excellent performance as your physical PC. There are key differences, though. A cloud PC, you get data center class security, versus a physical PC, you're worried about endpoint security. A physical PC can take 4 to 6 weeks to provision. A cloud PC is available instantly anywhere in the world. A physical PC has a refresh cycle every 3 to 4 years. A cloud PC is instantly reconfigurable, right? You can change the CPU, the memory, the storage anytime you want. Our customers are using cloud PCs to enable work from anywhere. They're enabling secure remote access from any device. Contractors are using it, call center employees, remote software developers, and a very high performance use case is 3D collaboration. So for 3D CAD engineers in architecture, engineering, and construction, in manufacturing, auto manufacturing. These are very, very special use cases. What we had to do for cloud PCs in order to deliver this innovation was to start from scratch and build a cloud native architecture, which very closely resembles something that Google has called Anthos. Anthos is a fantastic platform for you to deploy and manage containers on-prem in multiple clouds and the edge. And the Workspot solution is just like Anthos, except for Windows 10 cloud PCs.
Well, you know, Amitabh, that's a great way to sum that up. You know, the difference in how we deliver low latency cloud PCs essentially is because we can do it all around the world and put it in the cloud region next to the user. So it's low latency, it's right next to them. But also there's that fundamental architecture that's massively different. And I love the fact that Anthos is so similar to the Workspot architecture in that way. Only for us, of course, it's Windows 10 desktops. Now, historically, this was not the case. Historically, what had happened is like legacy systems were out there with VDI, virtual desktop infrastructure. Now, with this, it was very different. The IT organization had to buy everything up front, and they were responsible for building it all and making it work. And this was only in one location at a time. And so the problem is the end users were never really happy with the performance because, you know, it's like they were sharing resources all the time. It might be okay in the morning, but not so okay in the afternoon when everyone came in. And also, if they were far away from that one location in the world, they were getting high latency connections, and that was super slow. Now, the IT organization wasn't happy either with the notion of this do-it-yourself project because they had full ownership of everything and huge upfront costs, CapEx costs, and also the notion of the complexity and the responsibility of making it all work. Now, that's kind of bad news, but you know what the good news is? You can forget everything you know about VDI because that's not required in this new world of ours, all right? Significantly different. If you are an IT person that has suffered through this before, you know what I'm talking about. And even if you're an end user and you've requested a VDI desktop and it has been painfully slow and so forth, you experience that, you also know what I'm talking about. Forget that whole world. Everything changes now. And it changes now because of the title of this session, you know, low latency cloud PC. Low latency because the desktop is in the cloud region of the world as close to the user as possible. And they're getting their own resources. They're not sharing these things. They're for them. So it's super fast and wonderful. And on the IT side, it's a cloud PC. So you're not responsible for taking it, buying it, building it, and then maintaining it. It's a subscription service. You subscribe to 100 desktops or 200 desktops or 1,000 desktops in New York, LA, London, or Singapore, wherever you want around the world. And even though it's that simple, it's also enterprise class. It's tied into your enterprise and your AD authentication and your Windows 10 images and so on and so on. It's also massively predictable in the world of cost because it's flat rate pricing. No matter where you need that desktop, anywhere in the world, it is the exact same flat rate price across the world, any location, any user, and any use case. So that's the amazing part. Now, what does it look like? Well, if I'm sitting at my desk, maybe at home here, I might have a Chromebook or a smartphone or a tablet. And if I install the Workspot client on there, I can connect into my cloud PC in the cloud, and I will display all that right there. And I'm working away. Now, it feels like it's working right on the device in front of me, but it's not. It's actually running in the cloud. It's displaying right there. Now, if I have some sort of device in the middle that connects to external monitors, I can actually even expand that experience so that when I run the client on the device and I connect into Workspot in the cloud, and then I ask Google Cloud to provision that cloud PC for me in the location near me, like here I am in the West Coast of the United States, I would launch it in US West. And it would be so close to me, I would launch it and I would have that whole experience. And that desktop would span across all three of those monitors, a fully integrated display. Now, to really understand the experience here, what we want to do is show you a little video. The video is a recording of a person sitting down at a really inexpensive device connected to a couple of 40-inch monitors and connecting into their cloud PC. Now, when you do that, you can have all sorts of productivity apps coming up. You could have browser-based applications, Windows-based applications. You could even have GPU-accelerated applications and still get a great experience. In fact, that's one of the hardest workloads. And we're going to show you that in this video, one of the hardest workloads out there, because we can do them all around the world from any location. So let's take a look at the video now. So that's what the experience looks and feels like. You sit down at your own device, connected to your wonderful monitors, and that whole cloud PC comes right down to you. And whatever you had been working on before is still there. You reconnect and you continue working on your projects and so forth. And when you're done, click and disconnect. And so it's just unbelievably amazing. Now, what we're going to do is drill down into those two words. We started off with the low latency words, the cloud PC words. We're going to dive into low latency and go into more detail on how that's truly the case. So for this, Amitabh, why don't you take this section? Low latency.
Yeah. Thanks, Brad. Low latency is driven by a controlled data plane separation in the architecture. And this is the most fundamental thing that one needs to think about in the cloud PC world. Low latency drives excellent performance for end users. So let's try to explain to you how all this happens. And we start with understanding first the problems with VDI, right? So if you look at how VDI was deployed before, this was in an era when most customers had one data center. The largest ones might have 2, 3 data centers. But because of the cost complexity of the solution stack, you deployed VDI in a single data center, right? And in that single data center, the control plane, which used to configure, provision, and broker virtual desktops, and the data plane, which is the users' desktops themselves, were all very tightly integrated into the same data center. And so your users could now be 50, 100, 150, 200, 250 milliseconds away from that data center. And the further away they were from the data center, the worse their performance was. The whole industry spent the last 10 years trying to optimize and mitigate the problems with this low latency by deploying WAN acceleration technology or protocol improvements. But fundamentally, it's the speed of light. It's a law of physics. You can only do so much with optimizing the latencies that are created by VDI. Now the world is changing completely. We're entering an era of low latency infrastructure. So on the left, you started off with on-prem data centers where the latencies could be low if you're next to the data centers, but very high if you're far away. And most customers had access to one, maybe 2 or 3 regions in the world. Today, with the public cloud, with Google Cloud, every customer has access to tens and dozens of regions across the world. And they're now within 15 to 20 milliseconds of a Google Cloud region anywhere they are in the world. And that's new. That wasn't possible before. And going forward, it's going to get even better from a latency perspective because all the public clouds are working with carriers to deploy edge and 5G technology so that this high compute power is going to be available in thousands of regions across the world where the user is going to be within 5 milliseconds latency of any of these infrastructure pieces. Now, it's not straightforward to start with the world on the left and move to the world on the right with any piece of software, right? And this is not just VDI software. When we built databases back in 2005, we built app servers or even SAP, it was all built the same way. It was built for a single data center. Now, some vendors might choose to make copies of it across the world, but how many copies are you going to make for the edge world? How many copies are you going to make in the public cloud world? That's not the right architecture. And the folks who inspired us were from software-defined networking. And software-defined network had to solve this problem before anybody else. And what they implemented was a new architecture, which is controlled data plane separation. And we start off with wireless access points as an example. Meraki was one of the early vendors in this space, and they had this problem to be solved because every customer had multiple buildings and offices around the world. Each office could have multiple floors. Each floor could have multiple areas. And you couldn't go around installing access points and control planes and data planes all over the world. It just doesn't make any sense. And so they created a control plane that was separate from the data plane, which is the access points. And you could deploy the data planes anywhere you want. And the control plane allowed you to, from a single pane of glass, to configure all these data planes all over the world. Now, we took inspiration from this and built a very similar architecture, but instead of access points, it's Windows 10 Cloud PCs, and they could be distributed anywhere in the world. So our control plane is very separate from our data plane. From a car control plane, any customer of ours can deploy Windows 10 Cloud PC into any Google Cloud region that exists today or will ever exist. And in the future, we'll also support all the edge regions. Now, this separation of data plane and control plane is very, very important for cloud PCs for multiple reasons. So we separated out per customer, per region. And this is very important from first a performance perspective, because now every user is within 50 millisecond latency of a Google Cloud region. They're on a local high-speed internet, and they get fantastic bandwidth. And so they get excellent performance. It's also better from a scalability perspective because we can actually scale each region independently for each customer. It's better from an availability perspective. If a region goes down, only one customer, the customers in that region and the users in that region are affected. And if it's better from a security perspective because we don't commingle data from multiple customers. They have separate data planes. With Google Cloud, another benefit that we get is we get the benefits of all the optimizations that Google Cloud has done for YouTube as a workload. YouTube is a real-time video workload that billions of people are watching in the world every day. And the optimizations that Google has made for that workload applies very, very closely to the workload we are delivering. And so this separation leads to low latency, which leads to excellent performance. And so if you talk to our customers, the biggest thing they'll talk about versus the VDI use case was our customers and our users love their Workspot Cloud PC. We have customers like Southland replacing expensive $10,000 liquid cooled workstations for 3D CAD workstations with Workspot Cloud workstations. We have Mead and Hunt, which has been measuring productivity out of their employees from home and from office, and have measured it and said it's equal, if not slightly better from home. And so our users really love the performance of the cloud PC. And this is unlike what I'm sure most of you have heard from your VDI users, where people are unhappy with the performance of VDI. Now let's have Brad talk about how what we have done really makes life simple for IT. So we have made end users happy, but we've also put in a lot of effort to make IT happy.
Exactly. Thanks, Amitabh. And with that, we're going to focus on the cloud PC side over here. Again, talk about the fact that the new architecture is this SaaS offering, a subscription offering, where you just ask for the desktop that you want in that part of the world. Okay, and so you know what? Before we do that, we got to go backward in time a little bit. How did this used to be before, right? When you take a look at this and you look at this VDI solution stack virtual desktop infrastructure. Again, in this world here, if you've ever done this, you pick a location in the world and you purchase all sorts of software and hardware, and a truck comes and dumps it all in your driveway, and you pull it all into your data center and you have to build all this from scratch. You pay for the whole thing up front. It's all your risk, right? And think about this. You got to build it out. So you got CPU, network, memory, storage, all this utilization going. So the capacity is set to support a certain number of virtual desktops and so forth. And then you got to put a brokering system on that so you can get your users to come in and connect to the right space. But then you have all sorts of integration you have to do into maybe authentication or back-end systems. And then you got various layers of support. You got support layers just to support the stack you built, and then other support layers to actually support the end users and so forth. So you got it, right? So it's complicated, expensive, and you are completely on the hook. And that was just one location in the world. All right. And so how does that contrast with this new architecture, from Workspot? The idea now is you don't buy any of that up front, and you don't build any of that ever, and you don't support it either. When you actually want a desktop that's configured with a certain number of GPU, memory, and storage in a location of the world, you sort of click that, push that button, and it is provisioned, and that person can come in minutes and consume that and start working. In fact, in the upcoming demo, we're going to show you that. We're going to launch thousands of new desktops in multiple regions around the world in this demonstration right here in the next few minutes, and it's only going to take a few minutes to actually show you that. And so this is the idea with this new architecture. Effectively, it's a subscription service. You will have level 1 support, and you'll have desktop maintenance because it's your Windows 10 image, and you'll help your users. But other than that, underneath that is a service from Workspot. Okay, so let's drill into that a little more. If you take a look at this slide here, what's going on? We got the Workspot Cloud on top, and those dotted lines coming down, those are the control signals that Amitabh was talking about a minute ago. Now, underneath that, this is the punchline of everything today. It's the end user on the left and their Windows 10 desktop on the right. And you want to make it so that they can connect into that thing quickly and have a great experience. That's what it's all about, right? Well, there's 3 things in between there. We connect into our Workspot client that they run on their device, the end user does, right? And when they fire off the client, it makes a connection into the cloud and connects to the gateway for encryption and authentication and various things. And then it connects to our agent that runs on their Windows 10 desktop up in the cloud. There's those 3 things. So our cloud is configuring those with the dotted lines. And then, of course, while those things are running, they're reporting back, making sure things are humming along famously, right? And so effectively, it's that simple. It's simple to operate and deploy and sort of work with this environment here, and we want to keep it that simple. But realize this, that there's more going on under the hood, right? So the IT organization is going to see this happening below, and you can monitor all this as well. On the client side, of course, the Workspot client is running on an endpoint of their choice. Could be a laptop or a Mac, or it could be a smartphone or a tablet, right? It's going to have various networks like wireless networks or wired networks or cellular. It's going to come into the cloud then. And from the cloud, it's going to pick a region of the world. And of course, it's going to have a particular gateway with a version. And now once it's in there, it's actually going to connect into the Workspot agent that's running on their desktop, on their Windows 10 desktop. And there's going to be a specific configuration of CPU and storage and memory to allow them to run their applications and connect it into a super high-speed network in the cloud so they can connect into their files, their back-end application servers, to maybe to their corporate data center, as well as into the internet. So all of this is happening. The IT organization can monitor all this activity. You see all the dotted lines. All of that is configuring it and then reporting back to make certain everything is humming away famously. And then the solid blue line through the middle, that's the end user, the data path. The data path is quickly to the desktop, and then the desktop paints back to the user to make sure this is happening everywhere. Now, the architecture is obviously set up to be smooth and simple to operate at this level with one person, but guess what? The architecture is actually built to support thousands and thousands and thousands of users around the world. We actually have the Workspot support organization running our Network Operations Center, our NOC. And our NOC monitors all this activity from all the customers and all the users wherever they are in the world. And it does this so it can find patterns out there, patterns so we can be proactive about making certain that priority 1 happens, which is that all those users on the left have a great experience. And if there's any trend that comes out of these patterns, like an operating system that's acting up, or a device type, or a gateway, or a region, One of those things might set off an alarm, and we can take that information and we can share that with that customer, but other customers that it might affect also, right? This is single pane of glass, a knock for our support organization to tell all this information. Now, we have this great demo that I talked about earlier, where it's going to be launching thousands of cloud desktops across multiple regions, and you're going to see a demonstration of the knock monitoring all this capability also. All right. Now, there's a lot going on here, but again, don't worry. It's simple to deploy, scale, and operate. This is the world typically the IT organization sees. They want 10, 100, 1,000 desktops in a region. They click a button and away they go. And you'll see that in the demo too. Now, even though it's simple, it's still enterprise class. It's totally enterprise class because it's your Windows 10 image. It's your corporate applications and antivirus installed in it. You use your AD authentication and multi-factor authentication, and your group security policies and so forth drive the control of access and the abilities that people either have or don't have. And then for image management tools, you can use what you're doing now, because these VMs in the cloud are very similar to standard VMs. Using your tools to manage them is just like managing physical PCs. All right. So with that, what we're going to do now is we're going to go and see that demo. Okay. So what we have for the demo is a fictitious company called WorldCo. So this is a global company, employees around the world, and they have come to us with the requirement of being multi-cloud and multi-region and even hybrid. And so we've got Windows 10 desktops, cloud PCs in different clouds around the world and different regions, and even on-prem and on edge. Okay, so it's like everywhere, but it's still all managed from a single pane of glass. And then the request comes in that there's a merger and an acquisition happening, and we need to launch thousands of cloud PCs in multiple regions. And so you're going to see that. Now, when that happens, we can go in and take a look at the real-time security event feed, right? So imagine WorldCo's IT administrators launching all this and then looking at activity of users that are out there. But then we go behind the scenes. We go behind the scenes where the Workspot customer support organization uses the Network Operations Center, the NOC, to monitor all of the activity, like I said before, to take a look at those trends, to share the insight and the greater good across all customers, all users, wherever they are in the world. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at that demonstration. Here we go. Our fictitious company, WorldCo, has a multi-cloud setup across GCP and Azure. They also have an edge setup in Dallas. Across these clouds and edge, they have cloud PC resource pools set up in 10 different regions around the world. We've got 3 GPU regions and 3 desktop regions in Google Cloud, 3 desktop regions in Azure, and an edge development in Dallas. All of this is already set up as they're using it today, and as a Workspot admin, it's easy to manage this from a single pane of glass. Now, WorldCo has just acquired a company with users on the East and West Coast, and IT gets a request to add thousands of new cloud PCs on each coast. I'm going to increase the total cloud PCs of each of these East and West resource pools to 1,000, and it's only going to take 3 to 4 minutes to provision all of these. That's crazy. Now, we'll increase the number of cloud PCs in the West, and as we do, the CPU, storage, and networking resources in Google Cloud East and West are dynamically assembled to create the new cloud PCs and configure them and ready them for their users in the regions closest to their location. Excellent. Okay, while that's happening, let's look at the events feed. The events feed captures end-user activity in near real time, users connecting from different parts of the world from different devices. And depending on your requirements, we have even more user activity that can be captured and fed into Splunk and other SIM monitoring apps. As an admin in the system, you can see my event trail. There are my actions adding thousands of desktops in 2 different parts of the world. Now, for all of these new cloud PCs, I just got a request to give them the ability to print locally. So let's make a security change enabling printing for the whole group. Scroll down here, find the actual attribute, enable printing. Scroll to the bottom and hit save, and then bang, that's it. When the users log in next time, the new policy will be pushed and printing will be enabled for each of them. Now, I'll open up my Workspot client running on my local machine. As an admin, I've given myself access to all the GPU accelerated workstations and desktops in all 10 pools. As soon as I logged in, I automatically received the new security policy, and now I have the printing enabled on all my desktops. Let's connect to my Windows 10 desktop in Google Cloud US West. That's closest to me, and I'm going to show you how fast it is. It takes only 5 to 7 seconds to connect to the desktop. I can move this window around. This is my Cloud PC, and if I click, I go full screen. I can show all of my work. So I've got a browser open here where I'm looking at workspot.com website. And on another tab, I've got Workspot's YouTube page full of lots of cool customer success videos and a whole lot more. Also down below, open up a couple of PDF files. We've got Southland Industries case studies and viewing an interesting analyst report. I can also manage my files from here and share them with others. I can open up Office applications like PowerPoint and Word and just go ahead and edit away. I can run all sorts of browser-based or Windows 10-based applications, and it might even be GPU accelerated if I need it. Okay? So if I shrink this down, remind you that this is my Cloud PC, I can go anywhere and disconnect, close the client, and it's waiting for me there when I return. Before we check on the progress of the thousands of desktops we created a few minutes ago, I'm going to show you the Workspot Network Operations Center that our support team is using to monitor in real time what is going on for all users in the world. As we scroll, you'll see the yellows are warnings, greens are good, and reds are problems. We're collecting a few dozen pieces of information in real time for each user and for all of our customers everywhere in the world. We analyze the data across all of our customers to understand if there are significant patterns disrupting user access. Could be an office network making access slow for all users at one customer, or maybe an operating system update causing problems for all users on a particular device, or even a region of the cloud being unavailable to all customers in that part of the world. Now we'll look at a visual representation by pushing on the Map button. In there, I can see all the regions WorldCo is deployed all around the world. And if I mouse over those regions, I can see the number of users deployed there. 1,005 in the West and the East, which is 1,000 desktops and 5 GPU workstations. Now, let's go take a look at the users. Where are the users? Visually, I can see where they're located and how many there are in different locations of the world. We can also look at alarms. For any reason, if a user cannot connect from anywhere, you'll see an alarm. Is it one user or more users? We have the visibility across all of our customers. If a region of the cloud goes down, we can see that across all customers affected. Only Workspot has that visibility, and it helps isolate the actual cause of the problem. So there you go. Creating thousands of new cloud PCs in multiple regions for users anywhere in the world in minutes. As we scroll down through the eastern region, we can see all those new cloud PCs fully provisioned, fully qualified domain names and ready to go for each of the users. We can also go into the west and scroll down and show all of those additional cloud PCs ready for the users in the western region, ready for them to log in, provision their desktop, and go to work. That's how Workspot is simple to deploy, scale, and operate. Well, I'd really like to thank everyone for joining us today for the Workspot session, Low Latency Cloud PCs, the modern way to work. I hope the presentation and the demonstrations were very useful for your teams to figure the best way to bring cloud PCs into your organizations and increase productivity. You know, if you have any more questions, there's a little information on the screen for you there. Go to workspot.com/GCP, additional information beyond the presentation today. And if you want to reach out, just reach out to sales@workspot.com and we will get right back to you. Amitabh, any final thoughts?
Thank you, everybody, for attending the session. Thank you to Google. We're working very collaboratively with multiple Google teams. Of course, the Google Cloud team, Google Maps team, Google Chromebook team, ads. I mean, that's Google Ads team. And thank you to Google for inviting us to present at this session. Thank you, everybody.